filming stuff, hell yeah. Spit. I'm incredibly professional, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, alrighty. This is different, I'm standing up, using my legs. That never happens. Hello, hope you're doing well. So if you've seen my social media recently, or you've read the title of this video, you'll already know what's going on. I got a tattoo, finally. I have been wanting to get one for like 5 or 6 years now, and there was no particular event or anything that made me finally take the plunge and go get it. I think I just got kind of tired of waiting. So since I've already done a reveal, I guess, of the tattoo itself over on Instagram, there's not much point in me showing it off again here, but I will put a link in the description if any of you do want to see what it looks like up close. I'm also going to put a link, I think, to the artist who actually like drew it on me. That's that's the word for if the tattoo artist does their thing. I know what's going on. What? In this video anyway, I wanted to talk a bit more about the process of actually getting it, as well as answer a couple of questions that you guys had, and talk a bit about the reason why I actually got a tattoo in the first place. So one question that you guys have asked a lot is how long did it take? They were actually super quick. It was pretty much a half sleeve tattoo. It's like on my whole arm under here. Again, I'm not going to take my hoodie off, I'm cold. But yeah, I was expecting it to take about 6 hours, like minimum, because it was quite a large piece, but he ended up doing it in about 3.5. And he said apparently the faster you finish sort of working on the tattoo, the better it is for your skin, which I think I have noticed because it's been healing really well. The second question is, did it hurt? I mean, it wasn't the most comfortable experience in the world. It was a tattoo. I was getting poked in the arm with a needle for 3.5 hours. But yeah, I have to get injections quite regularly, so I've kind of got my technique down when it comes to kind of bracing for impact against needles, right? But it actually didn't feel as sharp as getting an injection. It was just kind of more consistent, because obviously it was going on for a long time. Kind of like if somebody with sharp nails was kind of just scraping you for ages. I realize that's kind of a weird mental image, but that's the best description I've got. Was it scary? I was super nervous. The guys at the tattoo parlor were super chill, it really took the edge off. Plus, as soon as they made the first brush stroke and I realized it wasn't horrifically painful, I sort of put 2 and 2 together and realized that, oh, the anticipation was a lot more daunting than the actual experience itself. Did you go alone or with a friend? I went with a friend. A good buddy of mine was the one who actually recommended the artist to me in the first place, and they were kind enough to come along with me as well for my actual appointment. They actually ended up booking in an appointment with the same artist about 2 weeks after my one, so I'm going to be going along with them for theirs as well. Did you design it yourself? Yes, I wanted a design that was entirely personal and unique to me, and thankfully being an illustrator, I could kind of go ahead and do that, since, you know, you can't really get much more personal than drawing it up yourself. But yeah, I passed my design along to the tattoo artist, and he didn't really have any alterations to make to it, which I was super happy about. He just moved a couple of the leaves around so that it would look more balanced on skin and turned it into a stencil, which actually solved a long-standing mystery for me because I'd never known quite how tattoo artists managed to make like the designs look exactly the same from paper to skin. Probably should have realized there was a stencil involved, but I was just convinced it was like, no, they're just really good at freehanding it. The wonders of modern technology. But yeah, I drew the design up, and then the tattoo artist just fucking knocked it out of the park. They did a really good job on the watercolor and all the line work and stuff, and I'm never gonna be over it, ever. I love it so much. Are the autumn leaves supposed to represent Paddy? So for anybody who maybe doesn't know, Paddy is my D&D character, and he's got this kind of motif of autumn leaves and stuff. And you know what, in answer to the question, it's kind of yes and no. Kind of more like, it's an aesthetic I've loved since I was a kid, and that's kind of why Paddy ended up with it. And they've definitely become kind of like his calling card as a character. But more than anything, to my mind, they just sort of feel like this motif that sort of represents my sense of self, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. Does it have any special meaning behind it? It very, very much does, and that actually brings me quite nicely onto the main talking point I had for this video. So for a bit of context, something you should probably know about me if you don't know already is that I have ADHD, which means besides the whole having too much energy and getting very easily distracted parts of it, that I have a clinically bad memory. I can't remember like regular everyday things half the time, let alone stuff that's actually important to me. Which in its own way is kind of another part of why I wanted to make this video, so that I can sort of have something to look back on in case I kind of forget any of this stuff in the future, which I probably will. My memory is terrible. But yeah, because my memory is so bad, being able to have like tangible reminders of the things that are important to me is something that matters to me quite a lot. So every time I'd considered getting a tattoo over the past few years, it had kind of been to go along with various milestones in my life. Like, I first started thinking about getting a tattoo when I was 16, when I first came out, and then when I started going to university, and then when I started taking testosterone. And each time like that where I'd think about getting a tattoo, I wouldn't actually go ahead and get it. Which in hindsight I am very glad about, because thinking back on the kind of design ideas I had back then, I would have a lot of regret. So yeah, didn't end up getting any milestone markers over those few years, but over all those years I did end up collecting some other kind of markers in the form of self-harm scars. Woo! Cheery! No, but this is an important factor in why I ended up getting a tattoo recently, and clearly I'm like at peace with it, like I'm fine now, that's why I can make jokes about it, so like don't worry. But yeah, depression runs in my family, and for a large portion, probably the majority of my life, I was going through kind of a never-ending series of tough shit, and the only emotional outlet I had was in the cutlery drawer. It's not the easiest topic to make jokes about, is it? I should stress that I never outright tried to kill myself or anything, because I was lucky enough that I had goals that I wanted to make happen. Like, I wanted to become an artist, and I wanted to start testosterone, and you know, I was too busy looking forward to living to get busy dying, you know what I mean? But yeah, a lot of the memory I have of that portion of my life, of that majority of my life, is of this feeling that I was just gonna break and that I just wanted to stop existing. Every year that I kept on living was another year that I didn't really think I'd see. So yeah, I ended up accumulating these scars on my arm that served as reminders, to my shitty memory, of all of the negative things that I've been through. And you know, when you're in that kind of deep dark mindset that leads you to do that stuff to yourself in the first place, you feel like having that kind of reminder is the least you deserve, because you're convinced that you're a pretty shitty person. And I want to make it like super clear, I'm not trying to get sympathy by like saying all of this or anything. Like, I'm over it, I'm fine now, and millions of people like go through this kind of stuff every day. I know I'm not fucking special. Now, truth be told, I've only managed to kick those bad habits in the past year or two, but I've been through enough and learned enough now at this point in my life that I know how to handle whatever comes my way in a more healthy sort of fashion. And this is something I mentioned in my video from last year's Pride as well. But when you've lived any portion of your life thinking that you won't be here to see tomorrow, every day that you're still here is something to celebrate. Which is kind of the point I'm at in my life now. I used to think I wouldn't live to see tomorrow, and now I'm doing so many things, big and small, that I just couldn't have even begun to imagine that I'd get to experience. I've been on testosterone for over a year, and I'm on the waiting list for top surgery. I have countless people in my life now who just the thought of them makes me smile. I've reached a point in my life where I'm comfortable in who I am. I'm making a living by doing what I love every day and working towards doing more of it with people that I love. I started exercising, which is honestly the plot twist of the century, like no one saw that coming. I've taken up theatre again for the first time in like 10 years. I have a YouTube channel, I'm doing this. What? I kicked the bad habits that I had about a year or two ago, and the special meaning behind getting this tattoo is that I wanted to cover those old scars with something to celebrate the fact that I'm still here, that I'm still growing, and that I've kind of found myself through having found new people and things that I love. It's a testament to the fact that I am more myself than I have ever been, and I don't intend to stop anytime soon. And again, I'm not saying any of this to show off and be like, ooh, look how great my life is, because it still sucks sometimes, that's how life is. But I do kind of want to talk about, or at least get the point across, that like, I was living my worst life, right? I was in this deep dark place that a lot of people can find themselves in, and now I've got this permanent reminder that I'm okay. So if any of you watching this right now in that deep dark place and you feel like you're completely alone, you might be, honestly, it happens, I'm not gonna lie. You might have years of pain ahead of you and many trials that you'll have to face, and you might have to face them completely alone. But one day you won't. Nothing heals overnight, but it's worth sticking around because you're gonna grow and you're gonna learn, you're gonna cry and laugh and change, and you're gonna meet people who love you, and one day you're gonna be you. And you're gonna be amazing. Anyway, I didn't want to get emotional, but let's be real, I'm a sap, it was gonna happen. I feel like this might have ended up being kind of a self-indulgent video, because again, I wanted to have this kind of reminder of how far I've come and like have this sort of thing to look back on. But if it ended up being in any way motivational to any of you guys, then that's pretty neat.